Okay, so it is official that the Boreas nerf is going to be live on global servers.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
We finally got the Boreas adjustments. He's getting adjusted. He's getting a little rework. That's all it is, guys. It's not a nerf or a buff. It's just an adjustment. That is coming now to global. I will say they clearly watch my stuff. There is no, what did they say? There's no more astonishment to be described. They're saying we would assign him as this, however, his exceptional stuff, right? So and it is exceptional. He is an exception, like the stuff he's able to do. He's an effective standalone character. That's not how they intended him. So it's time for some adjustments. Also, guys, sorry, we should have tested him more. We know a lot of you guys spent real dollar bills, trying to get this guy. Maybe got a bunch of Aurum and Cetrum on the way. You know, might have spent hundreds or thousands of dollars. And by the way, all you get now is, what is it going to be? A hero reset book for all heroes that it can be used, a Boreas reset event, as well as a lovely 300 diamonds and 4 huge stamina potions, aka 240 diamonds, aka a total of 540 diamonds.
This is a load of barnacles.
I heard that!
I think a lot of people would be okay with all of this if there was, maybe apology isn't the right word, but a bit of accepting blame and accepting the responsibility that, hey, we should have tested better before people started feeling robbed. Also, maybe a little, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe just explicitly say, this isn't going to happen again. Of course, nerfs are always possible, but we're going to do our darndest so that this doesn't happen again. All in all, though, I mean, they're doing exactly what I said. Exactly to a T. Go check out my first video and my video with Ivy. So this is what we should do, guys. I think as long as they introduce some way that people have the option, like a deconstruction crystal, that's just what I'm going to call it. If you guys have a better name, let me know and we can rally around that name. They need to introduce an avenue for people to decide, you know what, let me take him back to level 1, let me get all my mats back, and let me reevaluate if people choose to do so. That is what needs to happen. And I never said that this nerf, even though I did say it was extreme, I never said they were nerfing him into the ground, because we don't know, right? They did go through every single skill, literally every single skill, every single one, and adjust it. Nothing has changed since the original release on Forerunner. So I did say it was severe, but I said we don't know how strong it's going to be. Go back to my original video. I said, is he going to be, adjusted to the level of Comet? Maybe he's a little better than Comet, maybe a little worse. Maybe he'll be like Iona. We don't know. I never said he was going to be an unusable, terrible hero. However, he is going to be the kind of hero, potentially, and that's what we're about to accomplish right here as we test it out. He is going to be the kind of hero that you might want to reset and get some of those skill crystals back. I've got my Boreas, not even max skill, because he's not a top priority on my account, but I have an A3 Boreas who is close to max skill. I did max out his ultimate. I got a lot of things here. I got the cooldown going on Frozen Purification. I got lucky with the skill ups. Boreas has not helped me clear a single piece of content. I'd already cleared all the gear raids. I'd already cleared Nightmare Void Rift several weeks. He did end up getting subbed in for Arena and for my Gear Raid 1 to speed it up, for my Gear Raid 2 to speed it up. This is when it's on auto farm, for my Nightmare battles on auto, so they would be faster Nightmare Void Rift. However, at the time of getting him, the only things left for me to do were push my codexes and get codices, push codex to get triple S's, which I'm finally starting to get now, and get my 50k guild boss, 1 rune, right? He has not helped with any of that. I have not used him once in codex. I have not used him once in guild boss. So to me, he was totally a luxury item, a very luxurious luxury item, but not something that was important to me. So he was never a top priority. So we're going to do a little apples to apples test, the best that I can do, taking my A3 Boreas. And then over here, if we go to the test server, I've got an unbuilt Boreas over here. So what's going on with this Boreas on the test server? I'm going to make him A3, so it can be fairly comparable. And I guess we'll max skill this guy if we're lucky. What? Wait, these must be a bunch of... I pulled... I forget what I was hunting for. I don't know why I have all these dupe Boreases. I honestly don't. Anyway, there is Awaken level 1. We're going to go all the way to Awaken level 3, so it's equal to my account. I want to try to make this as steady and consistent as possible. And hopefully the skill ups land the same way. Most likely the skill ups will be better on this. So this is the post-nerf version. Whenever you guys see the test server, that's going to be post-nerf. And obviously what I have currently on my global server, that is going to be pre-nerf. So here we go. There's an A3 Boreas. We'll do the skill ups now and hope they land the same way. Or is he already skilled up? No, I already skilled him up. So he's max skilled. So there's going to be a max skilled post-nerf Boreas at A3. We're going to try to get the gear as identical as possible. I'll do that and, try to make it perfect. Who knows how close I'll be able to get. versus my nearly skilled up Boreas. I guess I could skill him up because I'm going to reset him. I'll tell you guys that right now. Because I don't want to put skill crystals into him, I'd rather put them into someone who's going to help me. I'd rather put them into Anai. I'll say it, guys. Boreas doesn't help my account. This is the privilege of having a strong account. I've got A3 Comet as well. But Anai at least can help me potentially. I'm not saying I want to, but she would help me more than Boreas, at least currently, right? Because aside from Arena, we're going to test him out in Arena, obviously. But aside from Arena, I really care mostly about the codexes, and Anai, a skilled out Anai for Arbiter Frost, Anal, she's going to do a lot better than Boreas. So that's kind of where I'm at. So certainly on my account, I will reset him. So I guess I could put these skill ups in now, but you can see I don't even have enough to max it out. So it won't be perfect. It will be close to perfect. It's going to be a well-skilled Boreas where the two most important skills have all their things, a maxed out ultimate, and as you look over here, the maxed cooldown, so the lowest possible cooldown on the frozen purification. And we'll compare that to the maxed out version on the test server. All right, so this one's pretty juicy. So I think we're going to rock with this one because, yeah, it's more attack now, so that's kind of a bummer. However, I mean, the attack speed matches. So I think we can all say, at the very least, the one on test server is going to be slightly better. So let's pull this up now. It's 1.666, right? So it's 16.66k attack, little number of the beast action. And now we got 412, 348.5. This is darn close, man. This is darn close. So this is the test server, 16.66k attack, 1.4 second interval at 412 speed, crit capped, 348.5. Now this is going to be my account. It is darn close. 16.5k attack, so about 155 less attack. About, 12 less attack speed, but still the 1.4 second interval. And then instead of 348.5 crit damage, it's 342.5 crit damage. So this one's a little bit worse in a couple areas, but God, it's basically a rounding error. It's nearly a rounding error. I think this is super, super close. If you want to get in the comments and complain to me that this isn't close, look in the mirror, man. This is pretty dang close. So I think we've got ourselves the basis for a pretty strong comparison. Again, let's go back to the test server and let me remind everybody that this one is going to be max skilled. However, my Boreas on my account does have the ultimate maxed out and does have the full cooldown on frozen purification. Actually, it's all different now anyway. So if we go back to my account, you'll see they've just totally changed this because you don't get the extra damage anymore. So that's probably a good time to compare the skills all together with what we're looking at. We can go to, so let's start off in the notes, and then I'll show you how it's going to manifest on these specific heroes, and then let's get testing. So this is where it gets crazy. This, I think, is the source of a lot of the outrage that people had about this nerf or this adjustment or this rework, whatever you want to call it. Boreas has a basic attack, and then he has 3 skills, right? He has a basic attack, and then he has an ultimate, and then he has 2 passives. Obviously, you can't change the basic. You know, that's just, the basics are standard. They're basic for a reason. The other 3, though, all 3 of them were adjusted. And that level of getting in there and completely retooling, I think, really left a sour taste in people's mouth. The big issue with Boreas is in Arena, where obviously we're going to test him to the best of our ability, which was his crazy range. So of course they adjusted that. But did they need to adjust the duration of his freeze? Did they need to reduce every single damage multiplier on him? I don't know. Let's find out. But I do think it was the extent to which they combed through every single skill and adjusted it that really was upsetting to people. So let's go through it. So before on Frosty Endowment, which if we go over the test server, we can use this as our reference. That is going to be the ultimate. Before, that looked like this. Activates Eternal Ice Haven and increases damage by 200, 200, 225, 225, 225%. Each attack will reduce the trigger interval of the next frozen purification, that's one of his passives, by 1 second. This effect lasts for 26, 28, 28, 30, 30 seconds. All those slashes are how it improves the skill ups. The rage cap was 1300, 1300, 1300, 1300, and then with the final level up for the ultimate, it went down to 1200. So what has changed now? Well, first, let's focus on the good. It's less rage, it's less cost, right? So instead of being a base of 1300 and going down to 1200, now it's a base of 1100 and going down to 1000. So that is a buff. That's an improvement. 2 thumbs up, right? But the damage, instead of going 200 through 250, everything just directly, step by step, reduced by 50% damage. So from the first one, it's 75% of what it was before, and the next one, it's like 80% or so of what it was before. Now, if we go to duration, before it went from 26 to at max 30 seconds, now it goes from 21 to max 25 seconds, so everything just a reduction of 5 seconds. So that's pretty significant. The duration's a lot less. Now let's go to chilling below. So Chilling Blow is going to be the first passive here. What was it before? Let's go back. Lots of switching here. Before, when enemies are inflicted with freeze, they will also receive anti-healing for 3 seconds. When attacking enemies inflicted with freeze, deals 35, 40, 45, 50, 55% extra damage. So starting at 35% up to 55%, each skill up bringing it up an additional 5% damage. After, when enemies are inflicted with freeze, they will also receive anti-healing for 4 seconds, so that is a buff. That's an improvement. Instead of 3 seconds, it's 4 seconds. I think that is the most negligible thing of all time. Who was ever saying that his anti-heal was not long enough? But, you know, it's an improvement. Now for the nerf part of it, when attacking enemies inflicted with freeze, deals now the additional extra damage way less. This is one of the more significant ones. So starting off just 5% less, but now the incremental increases skill up by skill up are only by 2%. So it goes from 30 to 40 as opposed to 35 to 55. That feels significant. Now the big one. For me, this is by far the biggest one, the biggest change to his kit. This is what everybody's going to feel. One of the changes is a nerf, but a very welcome nerf, and that's going to be the change in tiles. So quickly, let's look at this skill. This is like his auto passive. This is kind of the really amazing part of his kit. This is going to be Frozen Purification. This is what makes Boreas. So if we go back to what the change actually was, before, when deployed, deals 160, 160, 180, 180, 200% magic damage to up to 10 enemies in a wide range within 4.5 tiles around the hero, and inflicts freeze on them for 2 seconds. This effect triggers one time every 20, 18, 18, 16, 16 seconds after. During Eternal Ice Haven, the skill's trigger interval is reduced by 10 seconds. What happened now? They changed every single thing except for the quantity of enemies. Everything has been changed. One thing for good, the rest for not so good. So now after, when deployed, deals 160, 160, 180, 180, 180%. So before it climbed up on that last one from 180 to 200, now it stays right at 180. So it's 10% worse, right? At max from 200 to 180, it's down 20%. Magic damage up to 10 enemies in a wide range. And this is what needed to be changed. Now this is 3.5 tiles away from the hero as opposed to 4.5. 4.5 was insane. We all agree it was insane. And it inflicts freeze on them for 1 second. This is the thing I take by far the largest issue with. This is what they really did to make him the kind of hero that cannot stand on his own, at least when you read it. I'm sure he's still great, but he still needs a Mari or an Eye or something, because the strength of the massive damage that he does with Eternal Ice Haven, that scales on the duration of the freeze. The duration of his freeze has been halved. Before, when he would inflict freeze, it was 2 seconds. Now it's just 1 second, and that is a huge difference, right? It's literally half. It also is just less crowd control. That's not great. The effect triggers one time every, and this is a slight improvement, but actually at max, it's basically a wash. The effect triggers one time every 18, 17, 17, 16, 15. So instead of climbing down from 20 to 16, it now climbs down from 18 to 15. During Eternal Ice Haven, the skill's trigger interval is reduced by an extra 9 seconds. Before, it was 10 seconds, so it went from 16 to 6. Now it's 15 seconds, but down by 9, so it goes from 15 to 6. The end result, the frequency during the ultimate is still identical, right? It's still going to be 6 seconds when you have him max skilled. So there's a lot to comb through there. It manifests in some pretty interesting ways when you actually see the skill ups and stuff, but that should provide a pretty strong baseline. So let's do a quick skill-by-skill comparison with my Boreas pre-nerf and then the test server Boreas post-nerf. So the ultimate, Frosty Endowment, the skill cost, it will be 1200 Rage, activate Eternal Ice Haven, and increase damage by 250%. Each attack will reduce the trigger interval of the next Frozen Purification by 1 second. The effect lasts for 30 seconds. We can ignore Awakening since those remain the same and they are identical. On the test server now, the ultimate will be activates Eternal Ice Haven and increases damage by 175%, and both these skills are totally maxed out, right? Before, it was 225%. How is that possible? So they had that's crazy. They had a typo in their notes. Wait, we found something crazy. In the notes, they said it would go from 225 at max to 275, but clearly they recorded it wrong, because if we look at my account, it is actually 250% at max. The starting thing was 225, and it did go up to 250%. That is significant. On the test server now, it is 75% less damage during the ultimate. Each attack will reduce the trigger interval of the next Frozen Purification by 1 second. That is the same. The effect lasts for 25 seconds. So instead of lasting for 30 seconds, it is now 25 seconds. Basic attack, we do have to talk about that because I do not have a max skill basic attack. My basic attack on the normal global server pre-nerf is going to be 110% magic damage to one enemy. On the test server, it's going to be max skilled, so 120% magic damage to one enemy. That is not different though between the servers and between pre and post nerf. That is just me not having all the skill ups there. Now the first passive on my account, pre-nerf, Chilling Blow, When enemies are inflicted with freeze, they will also receive anti-healing. Worth noting that on mine, it's going to last 3 seconds. It will be longer and better on the test server post-nerf. And when attacking enemies inflicted with freeze, deals 40% extra damage. This would still go all the way up to 55%, but you can see I'm missing 3 skill ups. On the test server, however, it is at max, and the differences here are even at max, it's only at 40%, where I had the potential for 15% more damage on my account. And then if we look at the anti-healing, it is 1 second longer. And finally, on my account, pre-nerf, the most important skill that Boreas has, and I do not have it max skill, but I do have the full cooldown maxed out. When deployed, deals 180% magic damage to up to 10 enemies in a wide range, and inflicts freeze on them. This lasts 2 seconds. That's going to change post-nerf. This effect triggers one time every 16 seconds afterwards. During Eternal Ice Haven, the skill trigger interval is reduced by an extra 10 seconds. So it's down from 16 seconds to 6 seconds. 180% magic damage. Keep in mind I'm leaving 20% on the table. And the freeze is going to be a 2-second freeze. On the test server now, Frozen Purification, when deployed 180% magic damage. This is only the same because mine was not at max skill. Deals magic damage up to 10 enemies in a wide range. Keep in mind that wide range, so they don't express it, is going to be smaller here. On the pre-nerf, it was 4.5 tiles away from the hero. Now it's 3.5, and inflicts freeze on them. This is the part I hate the most, only 1 second, so he really isn't doing a good job of freezing himself. The effect triggers one time every 15 seconds afterward. During Eternal Ice Haven, the skill trigger interval is reduced by an extra 9 seconds. So now it's at a base of 15 seconds at the lowest possible cooldown as opposed to 16, but the reduction still goes to 6 seconds because it goes from 15 minus 9 to 6 as opposed to, on my account, 16 minus 10 to 6. Final thing to discuss, the talent is unchanged. There's a freeze, you have a 10% chance, and then at A1 it's a 50% chance during the ult. The freeze is going to be 3 seconds on my account, pre-nerf, and the freeze is also going to be 3 seconds post-nerf on the test server account. Good luck with that, Mitch. So guys, as you can see, the stats are pretty dang close. I'm actually really proud of that. You just saw my account. Now this is the test server. I will say, for anyone saying, but oh, the BP was more on the test server, that's because you get a lot of BP from skill ups, and this guy has full skill ups, whereas my guy is missing 1, 4, 6 skill ups, right? He has all the key skill ups. I mean, my Boreas is still an absolute beast, but that is going to be the reason for the lower BP. Alrighty, so the first place I want to test this guy is 119 with no additional support. So like no Dolores, anything like that, but most importantly, no freeze support from someone like Mari or I. So we're going to bring him with just Raiden. Raiden won't get deployed. This is my account. And then if you go over here, this is going to be the test server account. Let me move out of the way so you can see Raiden. I'll take myself out. We'll probably just run these two images side by side. Then we'll compare the damage. We'll see how far he can go by himself. We'll also try to key in and zoom in on those damage numbers to see how they are comparing. So without further ado, 119, just Boreas, no support, just the boy going at it all by himself. And of course, Power of Dominance is off. Let's get into it. I think the key things to point out is those big ults, when it was active, were hitting for 453k. That's what I was seeing. He was able to hit the boss from the corner there. And when these Scourges came out from this portal over here where my cursor is on the left, he actually was able to freeze them. He reached them from here to there. I envision he won't be able to do that now. Let's check him out post-nerf. The big takeaways, he could still reach the boss. He could not reach these guys by the portal. So that was to be expected. They were more than 3.5 tiles away. As we learned, he's about to die from the Scourges. We're now going to do a test on 120 where I will bring a healer and we can see his longevity. We'll also bring Mari, so he has a little bit of assist, a little bit of freeze utility. The other thing, right, is 453k on those big AoEs during his ult. Now they're down to 395. So a pretty big difference, about 1/9 less, 1/8 or 1/9. Not crazy, but I think we'll really see the difference when we bring in other freeze units, and we'll get more opportunities for those big Eternal Ice Haven hits and the occurrences from Frozen Purification, his auto passive. All right, so 2 new members coming into the team. This is my account, pre-nerf, global account. This is going to be my Vortex. Does not matter. All that matters is he has enough attack speed and enough health that he's going to make sure Mari and Boreas do not die. So there's the HP, there's the attack speed. He's in a +7 Elysian Epitaph. Now, test server Vortex, as you can see, he has got enough HP and he's got enough attack speed to keep everybody alive, and he is in a +7 Elysian Epitaph. Next up, here we go, pre-nerf global server. We've got Mari. I'm trying to run the Mari builds a lot closer, getting similar rage regen and attack speed. I did my best. It's going to be a max skill Mari, A5, and a maxed out Nightmare Samsara. We're going for attack speed and rage regen with enough HP that she doesn't die. So there's the HP, that's plenty. We're coming in at a 1.1 second attack interval, 429 speed, 54 rage regen. And on the test server, post-nerf Boreas, this account, I did pretty good. I really do. I took the skin off my Mari since I don't have the Mari skin on test server. And what are we looking at? Pretty darn close. Plenty of HP, and then a 1.0 second interval. She's just slightly faster, but you can see the actual number is spot on, 437. So we're right on that cusp by like 2 or 3 attack speed. Ignore the interval. It is a sliding scale. It's not this threshold, that threshold, and so on. And then for rage regen, we're coming at 56% as opposed to 54. Don't worry, guys. I can already hear you guys in the comments. What do the Pantheons look like? They're as close as they're going to get. This is something I can't really control for. On the test server, I neutralized it all and made them all level 50. On my account, they're all coming in, we got 71 for the big OG one, the one you can do with the basic trials. Everything else between 39 and 46. To me, that's definitely close enough. So I say let's head into 120 now. Power of Dominance off. And we're going to run this team, and we're really going to let them go because Boreas isn't going to die now. We're bringing Vortex, so we're not just looking for damage numbers, but we're looking for consistency of hits. We're looking for consistency of freezes. We're looking for synergies between Boreas and Mari, and we're going to see how far into the fight we can actually go. Let me get this going. Alright, so we made it to this point with 29 kills. Boreas finally died because he wasn't killing the Scourges fast enough. I believe I saw 403 as the big number towards the end there. We'll have to compare. Obviously, this is just a test. This isn't trying to clear the level or something. But Boreas is pretty insane pre-nerf. Like, no one is saying a rework, or at least this guy. I'm not saying a rework wasn't needed. Now the question is, let's see how hard that nerf is going to look now, post-nerf test server. All right, so pretty interesting there. Two things going on. One, this Vortex was better than my Vortex. I probably should have gave that a little bit more care. My Vortex was in a strong build, though. However, the extra second on the anti-heal for this post-nerf Boreas, or post-rework, I guess, because that 1 second buff did make the difference. If you guys saw, we picked off a few more Scourges before they were able to get healed because we had the longer anti-heal, and he did kill them. So we made it all the way up to like 40 kills, which is kind of badass. I mean, that's pretty sweet. The damage was a nice chunk lower. I believe I saw 403 last time. Mitch, when we edit, we can zoom in on this for sure. I believe I was seeing like 370 something here as the biggest hits against those big guys at the end. So a nice chunk of difference, but it's not insane. I mean, we're talking something like, I don't know, would that be 8% less damage? I think for PvE, everything except for Gear Raid 2, because he was very much reliant on hitting those far wide enemies, I think he's going to be pretty comparable. He works really well here, and you were probably running a freeze comp with him anyway. Okay, so quick damage tests we can do here. I'm going to go into the fight. We have to stop it at some arbitrary point before he wipes everybody, otherwise the damage is basically a wash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place Boreas, I'm going to place Mari, click on auto ult, and when these coins over here reach 40, I'm going to stop the fight and we'll check the damage. Then we'll compare that to post-nerf on the test server. Okay, there we go. It just hit 40. Let's quit. Let's see what the damage looks like. Kind of was in the middle of an attack, but I'm doing my best here. Defeat. Oh no, we lost. So it comes in at 8.9 million. Again, he's picking people off. This is imperfect, but maybe it gives us a general sense. We can also just keep an eye on those numbers we see per hit. Okay, now let's run the same thing on the test server. Same little test. We'll stop it at 40 deployment coins once we've generated that cost. Let's get Boreas. Let's get Mari. Let's click auto and let's get my head out of here. All right, there we go. Definitely it's going to be less damage. Let's see. It was in the middle of a hit. They did get the hit off at the end, so that's good. A little bit extra damage for him. Let us check. The other one was in the middle of a hit too. So it was 8.9, now it's 8.4. So we'll do the math and we'll put that on the screen right now. But just, off the top of my head, it's about 1/18th less, right? So it's going to be about 6% less damage from what we've seen so far. Fairly imperfect test, but you can see the damage is definitely in the same realm. Now, for people that are very anti-nerf, you might be saying, oh, but Fastidious, your Boreas isn't max skill, doesn't have all the damage multipliers. On the key things I do, and I think what we saw from the longer fight just before this on the 120 with Mari and Vortex is the two things. The longer anti-heal does make him pretty viable on his own, at least for little things. Combine that with the fact that his ult is literally 200 cost less. I think that's pretty significant. When it comes to timing it out manually, if you're running a rage regen kind of comp with Hollow, Eloin, Leia, or all three, who knows what you've got going on, I do think you'd see a stronger performance pre-nerf, but I think I can decidedly say the damage is still very much there post-nerf for Gear Raid 1. I think that would hold for a lot of PvE content. Again, Gear Raid 2, he'll still be viable, but will not be the beast he was before, strictly because of the limited range. There's one thing I do want to check first, though. Let's bring in an A3 Comet on this test server and compare him in this exact gear and see how he does. Alrighty, so I made myself a maxed out A3 Comet. Let's port over Boreas' gear onto Comet so we have a fair comparison. The main thing we are going to be looking for right now is really those big top damage numbers and just seeing how quickly he's melting the waves. There's no way we can do a proper straight up damage test. We just want to see, is that new Boreas, is he in the realm of Comet? Is he a bit better? Is he a bit worse? Where does he kind of fall? So that's what we're going to test right now. Everything else will be exactly the same. I'll still bring Mari because she is going to still bring that 20% magic vulnerability. We'll still bring Vortex for heals, and we'll still bring Raiden as our epic lord for the buff. All right, so let's try that out with Mr. Comet. Let's get into it. All right, my finger slipped. It was about 41, but hopefully we have the information we need. Let's see how we did. And Comet even a little bit less. Comet's not having the big range at the beginning. His attacks jump around. But I think we've come to the conclusion, it's probably a wash. And then when you take the other utility, Boreas is better. There's going to be content where, I think one or the other will be preferable. Boreas isn't going to be straight up just king better than Comet and everything, but it's not like Boreas is baby Comet now. I think they're probably in the same ballpark, and when you take utility into account as well, Boreas almost certainly is better. Alrighty, so we are back pre-nerf on the global server using my Boreas. Friendly face-off, let's take on HWZ. I threw a quick arena team together. Boreas is still in the same gear he was just featured in. Everyone else, it's kind of a mess, but we're going to take on a team with comparable BP. So we're not going against some big dogs, but this is at least going to show you we'll have a longer fight where I can demonstrate getting him out. We'll check that range. So let's go in here and let's see. First thing, I think I will have to place Cerberus just because we got to get somebody down. I'll place him right here. Normally I'd place Ardia, but I'll skip that step because I think Boreas, his range will certainly reach over here. So we'll get to see. And then from the second deployment, we'll see what his reach looks like. Normally I'd place Boreas right here. So we'll have to see. Also, maybe we could try placing him here on this square. We'll feel that whole thing out. So we lose. He had a guy behind. We did not. That's how it goes. Now let's see. Here's my Boreas. Obviously he reaches. We're waiting. We're waiting. Hopefully the whole battle doesn't fall apart. Come on now. We'll get a Dolores down too. There we go. Let's actually check. Good. Dolores landed the Invig on Cerberus. Now this is what I want to see. Come on, buddy. Let's go. Let's see the reach. He's not demonstrating it for us. We'll have to wait till the next round. We'll fast forward through this part a bit. There he goes. Right as they come out, they're already hit. Nearly one-shotting, but not one-shotting. If we had triggered Dolores, he would be. But from there, he's reaching everybody, killing everybody. That's what we wanted to show. Now that's what we have to go test on the test server. Okay, so like I said, we can only do friendly face-off because we do not have AoE on global nor on the test server, but we can fight war guides. Only have 2 friends on the test server, so sad. And we can go for friendly face-off. All right, we'll take it from here, guys. So the cooldown on Frozen Purification, that will constantly, it will have to cool down, but you're not going to do it until there's someone in range. So we'll be able to see as the cooldown goes. Hopefully this bot on the test server can take care of this guy as long as he doesn't die. Now the cooldown will have cooled down, so Frozen Purification will be ready. You'll see, we'll head to the next round now, and we'll see how early he can hit. If he can hit here, which he can't, he has to wait until this thing. So when we're in like AoE or anti-air, when these guys line up over here, there's no way it's going to work. Let me actually show if there, let me actually see if there's one other way to test that against like war guides or something. But I'm pretty sure he can't reach that farthest tile, but he can reach everything else. So yeah, unfortunately, because no one is on test server and no one has set defenses, there's not too much I can do. So all we can do is we can just test the range using these bot defenses. So here, guys, we can test the distance, okay? So I'll trigger it, so now we know it's already cooled down, right? So the second he can use it, he will use it. If we look at the way it would be, normally I'd place him over here and he can hit this guy in the corner. That's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2. So we're waiting for 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2. If he can hit him and it triggers right here, then you know. However, he's not going to be able to. He can't. He has to wait until he enters this box. So that is the difference, right? These guys line up towards the front of this box, which I guess counts as the half. Here, he can't hit there. He has to wait until they're in the front of this box. And that's very, very much the difference. So I hope that expresses it. He's still going to be cracked out, and he can do a ton of early hits, and he can do a lot of early hits from this box on everybody except for this back row. And if you choose to put him here, which I do put him there a lot when I do my arena stuff, then he can still hit everybody. So in conclusion, I don't really know what we accomplished here. I think they made a bunch of people upset because they obviously did make him worse. But because they didn't communicate it well, because they didn't express it well, I think it was just a big communication debacle. Go back to my stuff. I never said they were nerfing him to the turf. I said he's going to be worse. He is worse. The question was how much worse? A decent chunk worse, but still excellent. Undeniably excellent. I think almost certainly still the best AoE mage in the game. Seems like he's about as good as Comet plus utility. We'll wait for other things post-nerf. We can all test him out more. In conclusion, I think not many people will reset Boreas, but some people will. Me included. I'm going to reset Boreas after having done this. I built him before. I didn't really need him, but you just need people to build. And he was a big market improvement up from my Comet. For me now, he's probably a little bit better, but with all like the grief of Boreas and this, that, and the other, and I feel like sometimes people not taking me seriously because I have A3 Boreas, I have not been convinced that he's still good enough to not just break him down, get my skill crystals back, and use them where I really, really need them. All right, guys, here we are back on my account, global server, looking at my pre-nerf Boreas for one of the final times. Keep in mind, I'll reset him. I might build him back up again in the future if there's some need for him, but I'm in no rush to use skill crystals on him, so that's the real reason I want to take advantage of the reset. I think many of you, probably the vast majority of players, should not reset him. If you use soul stones, then yeah, maybe time to reset him. Otherwise, you're still going to use him a ton. He's still a beast. People that are worried, like, will my Gear Raid 1 fall apart without him? Will I still be able to do Nightmare Void Rift? Yeah, you will. My absolute final thought to conclude is this in the end kind of does feel like a rework. Is he worse? Yes, but some parts of his kit are better. The improvement to the anti-heal, that is something. The cheaper ult cost, that really is something. I actually think he's going to perform almost identically in PvE content. The one big change will be the crazy cheesy stuff he could do in Gear Raid 2 where he hit people right out of the portal up on the sides. Go to my Boreas guide, a very popular video I made, the first of the super guides I've put out. I did one on him, one on Hotsit, where I show him off in literally all Gear Raids 21, and he's an absolute superstar. In that, when we did Gear Raid 2, I said what he was doing was ridiculous and had to be revisited. That's kind of what they did. All in all, I think they did a good job. I think this was a huge, huge comms fiasco. They need to work on their PR. They need to take more accountability. They need to know if they announce something that appears as a nerf and every single skill is reworked, all the people that spent hundreds or even thousands of dollars trying to hunt this guy and hunt dupes of this guy and maybe putting all their skill crystals into this guy and soul stones into this guy are going to be rightfully peeved. If they did it in a different way, I think none of this would have happened. But I think we can all rest assured knowing that we don't have to worry about future heroes getting Boreas because they actually did this pretty tactfully. Honestly, they did. It's kind of crazy, but honestly, they did. Guys, I hope you appreciated this. This was a ton of work doing all this testing. Big thank you in advance to Mitchell, my editor. I know he's going to hit a home run on this one, and I didn't make it too easy on him because we did a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of raw footage. If you like this kind of stuff, let me know in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, share with your mother, and I'll see you in the next one.
Fastidious.